still raining real good outside, so it's probably loud. We did get the gas pedal and the brake assembly all installed. It is bolted down snug. We are good to go. So now let's see if we can do something with this wiring. So hoping that we can So, if you guys remember from other videos, there's a heater box that goes right here. So, what I'm hoping is that we can tuck some of the wiring up inside here to hide it and get this computer mounted to the firewall right here. Tight fit. I'm gonna throw a zip tie back there for now. While we go to wrap this up, I'll have to order some black ones. So I'm thinking this, I'm gonna run it up behind it and it'll actually be inside the glove box. So we'll have to trace this out, cut a hole in the back of the glove box. It'll get mounted in from the back. So that's one thing that we got to do. This is ODB2 reader, so this will maybe get mounted up in here somewhere, or maybe up under the dash, somewhere where it's not really seen but easily accessible. And then snug these up a little so that they're not falling out. I don't want to fight them. That is not the right size. So I think this is going to mount right under here. So one thing that we gotta pay attention to when we're doing this is the battery box mounts right there. So I may need to put that battery box in before we do this, or maybe they will all get utilized. Let me get the brackets that hold this in place. I thought about putting these brackets on first, and I was like, just let's see. And yeah, I probably should have put the brackets on first. Well, spider hanging from my hat there. I can see him in my quick reel. I can see him out the side of my face. I will end up painting these brackets black. And I may also end up painting the computer black so that it's even more hidden. I need to make sure that this is easily removable, because when it goes to when it goes to the motor shop, you need to be able to get to this computer. So I want it tucked up out of the way where you can't see it, but it'll be easy enough for them to remove the 4 bolts and drop it down and put it back when they're done. Here. Sorry, your guys' light died, so I really got a whole lot of light going on. Sorry. I really wanted it to go up higher, but stuff is in our way here. So hard to hold that up with one hand and mark it with the other, and I can't get to the third one to mark it. I can't even see my marks. Alright, I can barely see my marks, so what we gotta do now is three of the marks here are gonna be in an area where there's already paint. So now that I know where it's gonna kind of sit, I need to go in there with the grinder, clean all the paint off. And then what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna weld this stud to the firewall like that. And we'll do it at each 4 corners, and then these will just slip over the studs and bolt in place. So this is kind of a pain in the butt. So, and we have the battery box bolts that go in here as well. And what I think I'm going to do with those is we'll clean those up from inside, and when we're welding these bolts in for the computer, we'll weld a nut in there so that you can just bolt the battery box on from outside and not have to worry about you know, reaching up in there to you know, do a nut and bolt style setup. So yeah, you'll just be able to bolt it from the outside. So then that way, if you ever have to remove the battery box for any reason, you're not having to remove the computer to get to those bolts. So yeah, guy. All right. Well, I think that's it for me for tonight. I'm done struggling with this at the moment. I think we kind of got an idea of the direction that we're headed in. I think with some handy zip ties, I think that we can zip tie this wiring up and out of our way. It looks like our fuse box will reach the back of the glove box, so we'll be able to put the fuse box inside the glove box, which I think is a good idea and nifty, and you know, it'll all be hidden but easily accessible. The computer, it is sitting lower than what I wanted. I really wanted it to go up higher in behind the dashboard, but so these brackets here, for one, they hold the dashboard, and for two, it's what the heater box mounts to. You know what I gotta look at? Crap, I didn't even think about this. Where's the lines from the heater box gonna go through at? They went through right there. So we'll have to look at that. That'll be another thing that I gotta look at. Because they come through on that side. So it may have to get moved over farther for the heater box to have the lines come through. Yeah, so this is our heater box, and this mounts right in here like so. So the computer will mount behind that. But you see where our lines are. So if you look here, so these two holes that I welded up here, actually there's one here and one here, one up top, one down below, and that's where the heater lines came through. So I know now that we need to move this over. Can I move it over far enough? Sure. It could go right there. It dropped a little lower. but it can go right there. That'll work. We're definitely cutting it close, huh? We will pick back up with this tomorrow when I'm fresh at it. Let me think about it tonight. We may. I mean, there's just nowhere else. There's nowhere else to put this. You know, we can't go in the center. There's a factory brace up there, and we have the vent in the center. So, and we can't go any higher where we're at right now. For one, there's two dashboard braces which the heater actually mounts to. You've seen those. But just above those, just say, even if I was to remake the braces so that they weren't in our way, just above those braces, about an inch above those braces, is the hood hinge. And the hood hinge comes into the back of the dashboard there. So I mean, even if we were to move, you know, reconfigure those braces, like I'm only gonna gain, you know, an inch and a half maybe out of it at the most, you know. So I mean, is it really worth going through all that work for an inch and a half? You know, I think we'll be okay. And like I said, if we paint everything black so that you don't see it, you know, because the whole inside of the cab's going to go black, so it'll just all kind of blend in together. Not much else we can do. I think that's going to be it. You know, I think my main concern, which was the wiring, I think we'll be okay. We'll be able to tuck everything up and hide everything. You know, with a couple of handy zip ties. So anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enough gabbing. Okay, back out here on the Jeep today. I slept on, you know, this wiring and computer setup. I'm glad I didn't continue on with last night. But I slept on it and thought to myself last night, like, you know, I was trying to mount it, you know, with the wiring facing up and, you know, with it sitting this way, and I was wondering last night, you know, what if I flipped it sideways? Would it fit up in here better? And yes, it does. So I am able to get this up probably another 2 inches higher up inside there. So we're gonna go with that, I think. The wiring is tucked up behind here. It is a tight fit. You know, maybe I mean, I think we'll be okay right there. You know, we're taking up all the slack of the wiring. It all stays tucked up underneath here. I have the fuse box here, which, you know, we should be able to mount it into the back of the glove box here, so that the fuse thing is in there. We have this is the OBD2 thing. I'm contemplating maybe mounting this in the glove box next to the fuse box as well. You know, I'm not sure what all this is. I have a feeling that this is the gas pedal. And then this is going to be, you know, gauges and oil sending unit and all that good stuff. So So this would need to run over. The gauges go in the center, so we got plenty of room there. You know, this needs to reach over to the gas pedal, which that has, you know, pretty long wires on it as well. So these wires will probably get, you know, bundled up and zip tied up underneath here somewhere. So I think we have the computer figured out and all of the wiring. Now there's one random red wire over here. I'm not sure what it's for yet. He did send me a diagram for the wiring so that we know what is what. I haven't really studied it yet. So, but yeah, I think that's it. Only problem that I see with mounting the computer where it is that we're running into the body lines that are on the firewall, and they're indented this way, so they're holding me up from being able to bolt it flat up against the firewall. So I'm gonna have to check and look and see. But I'm thinking if I was talking about welding one of these nuts just onto the firewall, and then we were just going to bolt that to this nut, which is still my plan. I may have to dig through my drawers and see if I can find 4 that are a little bit longer. And then once we get these welded on, it'll get a nut screwed on first that goes down so far. And then we pop the computer over it and we put our secondary nut on and we tighten everything so that it's like sandwiching the computer between the 2 nuts. And then that it holds it out a little bit. We're kinda, I don't know, build a little pedestal outwards for them to sit on. So instead of it bolting directly to the firewall, it's just gonna bolt onto the bolts that we weld to, so that way it holds it off of the firewall. Almost like a jack stand, I guess. So I haven't filmed me messing around. Like, I untaped all this wiring, I took the glove box out, I removed the glove box door. What else did I do? I don't know, that's about it. I moved the glove box door, removed the glove box, you know, just kind of held everything up in there, fished wires around. There's a lot of grunting and cussing, so I didn't really film it. I figured I'd just give you guys an update and see where we're at. Another problem that we're running into, that I was looking at last night after I shut the camera off, is we got this heater box that gets mounted up in here. Well, this motor sticks out so far, where I was holding the computer up at last night, and I tried to put this in. This motor is hitting on the computer. So I'm hoping, I don't know yet, that moving the computer up as high as we can in the dashboard, we're gonna clear this now. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be real close. So what I may end up having to do is, there's these brackets are just held on with a couple of nuts and bolts here on both sides. I may have to remove these and drill another set of holes, like a 1/2 inch forward, because I don't want this even touching the computer, you know. So if we can get, you know, a little 1/2 inch gap between the back of this motor and the computer, you know, I think we'll be okay. You know, it would be probably about right there, which we're still, you know, it's not sticking out past the dash, so I'm good with that. You know, if we gotta move that forward a little bit, I think we're okay. And I think we got enough clearance for running the lines through. I went in last night after I shut off the camera and I was researching some stuff. I was looking at bulkheads for the firewall, which, if you don't know what a bulkhead is, they have several different styles. But basically you cut a hole in the firewall and you mount this thing to the firewall and it stays on the firewall. And there's a couple different styles. There's ones that have barbed fittings on each end and you slip the hose onto the barbed fitting on the outside of the firewall and on the inside of the firewall, and then they get hose clamped. Or they have nice ones that are threaded, and then you do like a hydraulic line setup where you have to buy these fittings that slip over the hose, and then you put it in the compressed fitting plier set, and you squeeze it and compress it, and that's what holds the line to it. It looks really nice and professional. One way is probably going to be about $40 to do. The other way is going to be $200 to do. So haven't really decided which way we're going to go with that yet. Probably going to have to talk to my buddy that owns a truck and see if he's willing to, you know, spend the extra dollars. So part of that $200 is me having to buy the tool, which would not get applied to the vehicle, but still money that needs to be spent. So, but yeah, so I think that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna stare at this a little bit, think about it, make sure what we're doing is gonna be okay, and then yeah, I gotta try and hold this up and mark the holes again, and we're gonna clean the metal and get some bolts welded up there and get it bolted in, and we'll see. That's the toughest part that I'm having a problem with, is just getting this thing mounted to the firewall, but I think we're closer. I'll check back in when maybe when we're welding the nuts on, or maybe when it's mounted in. So I'll see you guys soon. All right, well, we're back out here for a little update. The computer is mounted, so I gotta pull the computer down, and I gotta put a couple more welds around the bolts, but I got a couple good tacks on each one. It's not going anywhere. It's in there, it's mounted. I think the next thing that we're gonna do is go eat some lunch, but get the fuse box mounted in the back of the glove box door, get the glove box, or not in the back of the glove box door, but in the back of the glove box, and get the glove box mounted back in there, make sure everything fits and clears. So I don't know, I haven't tested this guy yet, but I highly doubt he's gonna fit. Very close, but I think we are gonna have to just move those like a half inch, like I said. Not a big deal. I think it's a pretty easy task. Like I said, it's just nuts and bolts that hold those two pieces on. I'm just gonna drill some new holes in them and move them forward a half inch, and we'll be good to go. So far, so good. I'm happy with the way everything's coming out and looking. On the bottom, we are not gonna, how I said I was gonna build like a pedestal using like 2 nuts. We don't need it on the bottom. The bottom sits flush, but the top we will put an extra set of nuts behind the computer. But yeah, other than that, I think we're good. I'm happy it's up higher than it was. Probably still could have gone up a little bit higher. But if I would have gone up a little bit higher, our nuts would have been like right on the seam right here. Our bolts would have been right on that seam. So I dropped it down a little bit so that we were on a flat piece of metal and not that seam. But other than that, I think we're good. It'll be hidden by the heating box there, and yeah. So I'll see you guys a little bit later. It's lunchtime for me. Thanks for checking back in. So what we've done is we've welded the nuts in, or the bolts in, to mount the computer to. Not the prettiest of welds, but you'll never see it. For one, they were kind of hard to get to, and then for two, I don't know what was going on, but my welder was just welding like poo-poo. So I also, there's a battery box that mounts on the outside of the firewall right behind where we're putting the computer. So I welded some nuts in here so that you don't have to remove the computer to take the battery box off. I think I had mentioned that in yesterday's video or earlier this morning. But whatever the case may be, we got those welded in. I think we're ready to kind of do a final test fit of this computer here. Hopefully, I'm gonna get these top bolts. I'm gonna put a set of bolts on here to hold it out over the body mounts, or the body lines that are in the firewall. The bottom ones, we don't have any problems. It's just the top one that we have to do this with. above. Let's try that. Okay, computer is mounted. I was really hoping that we would be able to mount this to the back of this. And I don't know if there's going to be enough room. This is the bracket that I believe holes on it. As far as, if you were to mount that to the firewall, you wouldn't be able to get to mount that. That don't make no sense. Even if you were to mount it, like your wiring's in your way. Yeah, this may be a little more difficult than I thought. Alright, I gotta do some thinking about this. So here's what I'm looking at. So the only way that I see that this box fits is if you do it like this. Holes line up and everything. They give you the cut through for the wiring to go through. Holes line up. But what are you supposed to mount that to? You know, if you mount it like this, for one, you can see that it's not deep enough. All this sticks out past the bracket, and if you were to mount it like that, you wouldn't be able to get to nothing. And there's no way to, you know, the wire's sticking out the back, you can't flush mount it that way. I think our glove box idea is the best bet, but what I see that we're gonna have to do, you know, we're gonna have to get rid of these tabs. There's some angled tabs here on each side. we're gonna have to get rid of those so that we have a nice clean square to push this through. You know, these up here, you know, if I put this in through the back, these are in the way of the metal sliding all the way up for me to be even able to bolt this in. You know what I mean? If I cut a square big enough to fit over these, then you're going to be missing the hole. You're not going to have anything to bolt it into. So I think we're going to have to clean this up a little bit, and then we'll have to make a template and cut a hole in the back of the glove box. I think my idea is the best idea so far. I would say comment below, but by the time you guys see this, it'll be done. So this guy here, this is your old ATV2. I think we're just gonna mount him right here. That way he's easily accessible. So, I'm gonna have to think about this. I'm gonna have to think about it. But we got the computer being mounted, situated, so that's good. I think we're almost done. We got this Autobodyshop thingy, which, like I said, I think I'm just gonna screw that right there, and we're done with it. We gotta do that fuse box, and we gotta figure out the gas pedal thing as well. So, which there's that brace going across the back. It's possible we may just zip tie it up to that brace. Might be the easiest thing, instead of going in here and welding more stuff to the firewall to mount it to. You know, maybe we can just zip tie it up there and be done with it. I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, I got a couple things to think about. I've been racking my brain on this computer, and I think the computer's done. I think we're good. Now it's time to move on to the next thing. And it seems like I might have to rack my brain on that as well. So, I hate wiring, and I haven't even gotten to the wiring part yet. So, all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna think about what we're gonna do, and we'll be back. I did clean up that fuse box, those couple of pieces of plastic that were in the way of us mounting this into the glove box. I got rid of those, and I made a little template guy, and we should be able to put this on here, mark it out, cut it out, and then we should be able to mount the fuse box in through the back. So, I think we're good. I'm just going to mark it. We'll pull it off. We'll make sure that it looks straight on there. And if it looks straight, then we'll cut it out. We'll drill the 4 holes. And we'll get this thing mounted back in there. hopefully this all works. You know, worst case scenario, if it doesn't pan out, I just gotta, you know, this is just tacked together. There's probably 24 tacks holding it that we would just have to cut it apart and replace the back, and we're good to go. The only concern that I have at the moment, which we'll see once we get this put together, is how close the wiring out of the back of the fuse box is to the computer, because the computer is right behind here now, and I don't want any of the wires touching that computer. Just, you know, driving down the road, them vibrating, bouncing around, you wear through a wire, it arcs out onto the computer, and then you've got major problems. So we need to make sure that nothing is touching that computer for it to arc out or wear down or whatnot. So if that's the case, you know, we built this glove box 6 inches deep. I could take an inch off all the way around the front here, make it 5 inches deep, re-drill our holes, weld our bolts back on, and we got plenty of clearance then. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just, you know, test and tune almost. So, but I think that looks pretty good there. You know, what I should do is should probably make sure where the holes are going that you know, I guess it really doesn't matter. So where the holes are, all the fuses are. This part over here is relays. Only thing would be that the fuses are upside down, but I can always pull those out and just flip them over. I think I want the relays over here. That looks good. So this was me tracing out. You got your fuses that go here, and then you got 2 relays that go here. You can kind of see how there's some indents and some round corners to it. So I think I'm gonna try and do that same thing. So I think we're going to drill out all 4 corners so that we have nice round corners. It's not just a cut square. And then I'm probably going to cut on the inside of my line, and hopefully it'll fit and be a nice tight fit. That's what I want. You know, if I gotta come back and clean up the edges a little bit over and over again until it fits, that's what I'm gonna do. Straightening her back out a little bit. Everywhere I put a hole, I kind of was pushing a little hard. pushed a little hard. I may have dented it a little. These are not my gloves. Those are Miss Colleen's gloves. Okay, wish me luck. Let's hope we cut out a nice box. I think we are good. Now the question is, we're good. We're not touching the computer. I can stick my whole hand in between the two. Sweet. All right, let's find. Let me see if I can find some screws and some bolts for that. Okay, I found some screws and some bolts and some washers. Nice brand new ones. Let's hope I can get them all in without dropping them 100 times. It'll be fun putting all this stuff together when it's freshly painted. This guy in here too, and I meant to put a little notch up at the top for this to be able to come through the same hole there, which isn't a big deal. But I would just have to take all this back apart. I think that'll work though. think that looks pretty good in there. So I'm happy with that. Like I said, the wire, I have it like in between these two braces that the heater box connects to. We put the computer up against the firewall in between those two braces, if you guys remember. And I have the wiring harness for this fuse box going in between. And I think if we come up on this side, it'll give me just a little bit more room. Not that big of a deal, but I see the wiring harness like going up on an angle in front of the computer box, and I think if we come up on this side of the bar, you won't see that then. So I want to notch out just above where the relays are, for me to slip this through first, and I just want to notch out big enough for this wire loom, and then we'll stick this through, and then we'll put the fuse box back in and we'll screw it in place. And then this guy's gonna get, he's gonna get, I don't know, screwed over here somewhere, or up top. I think it'll be up top. Just in front of the fuse box. Enough that you can plug everything in if you need to, and you can still get to your fuse boxes. And we'll go over in the middle. Nope, can't go in the middle, that's where the latch goes. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we still will go over here. I don't know, we'll see. I was gonna put this up in the fuse box, but you got the 4 screws right here, and if you mount this right where the screw is, you're not going to be able to plug into it. I can't go in the center because that's where the latch goes. The sides are curved, so you can't go on the sides. And I really don't want to go on the bottom. I mean, I guess we could go on the bottom, but then we're going to have wire that is visible. You know what though? Maybe we can. If I go on the bottom underneath the fuse box. I like that. We'll go right there. I like that idea. I can make sure I can plug into it. I don't see why I couldn't. Let's go see real quick. Oh yeah, you can plug into that, no problem. And I've got a pretty hefty duty plug there, so like it needs a little bit of tape. I haven't used this guy in forever. I bought it years and years ago to do airbag lights when I used to do collision work all the time, and now I don't do that stuff anymore, so I don't ever use it. Alright, but I think that's it. I think we figured out where we're gonna put the ODB2 guy at. And I like it because, not that you're gonna be looking at this daily, but when you open the glove box, you can kind of see through on the one side of the fuse box, and you can see the computer behind it, because I cut it just a little wide, but how I had that thing in there with the cord going around that side of the fuse box, it covered that slot up so you won't ever see it. So that's nice. Not that it would matter. Once everything's all painted black and everything's all put together, you know, you won't ever notice it. You notice it now because it's still in bare metal. But you gotta, you know, you got bare metal up against a black box, so you can see that it is, you know, that there's a hole cut back there to slip the fuse box into. Once that glove box is black and matches the fuse box thing, you know, you won't ever see it. So but other than that, I think everything looks good. I'm happy with it. I am out for tonight. We will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. Remember, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment.